Hello and welcome to the June edition of the Dot Report. This month we're covering active federal warnings about attackers targeting industrial monitoring systems used across critical infrastructure, growing cybersecurity concerns ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, new research highlighting identity visibility gaps across enterprise environments, and a major investment in operational technology security through one of the largest cybersecurity acquisitions of all time. But before we get into our stories this month, make sure to check out even more coverage in the podcast version of the Dot Report on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Now let's jump right in. Federal agencies are warning this month that attackers are actively targeting automatic tank gauge systems, the devices used to monitor fuel and other industrial fluids across critical infrastructure sectors. The alert came from CISA, the FBI, the NSA, and several other federal partners after investigators observed malicious activity against internet-exposed systems used throughout industries like energy, transportation, agriculture, and chemical manufacturing. These devices help organizations track fuel levels, detect leaks, and manage storage tanks safely. And according to the advisory, attackers have been exploiting weak passwords, exposed interfaces, and known vulnerabilities to gain access. Then once inside, they can manipulate settings, alter inventory information, and disable alarms that operators rely on to identify problems before they escalate. But what's notable about this activity is the target itself. Rather than focusing on corporate networks or cloud platforms, attackers are going after operational technology tied directly to physical processes. Federal agencies have not publicly attributed the activity to a specific threat actor, but they are urging organizations to strengthen authentication controls, review remote access configurations, and remove these systems from direct internet exposure whenever possible. The broader takeaway is that operational technology continues to attract attention from threat actors because of the impact that extends beyond IT. A compromised tank gauge may seem like a small issue on the surface, but when those systems support fuel distribution, transportation networks, or industrial operations, the consequences can become much, much larger. And that intersection between digital threats and real-world disruption is becoming increasingly common, especially around major events that attract global attention. As such, security researchers are already warning that the 2026 FIFA World Cup could become a prime target for cybercriminals, hacktivists, and nation-state actors looking to take advantage of one of the largest sporting events in the world. The tournament will span the United States, Canada, and Mexico, bringing together millions of attendees, thousands of vendors, transportation systems, hospitality providers, broadcasters, sponsors, and even government agencies. So from a cybersecurity perspective, that creates an enormous attack surface and a long list of potential targets. Researchers expect to see everything from phishing campaigns and ticket scams to payment fraud, account takeovers, and attacks targeting organizations that support the event. Hacktivist groups may also attempt to leverage the World Cup's visibility to draw attention to political causes, while nation-state actors could use the increased activity surrounding the tournament to conduct intelligence gathering or test capabilities against high-profile targets. The concern is less about a specific threat and more about a pattern that has emerged around major international events. As organizations deploy more digital services to support fans and travelers and partners, attackers gain more opportunities to exploit weak points throughout the ecosystem. Most businesses won't be directly involved in the World Cup, but the lesson applies far beyond sports. Cyber criminals consistently follow attention and traffic and opportunity. Whether it's a global event, a major holiday, or a widely publicized news story, attackers tend to move where activity is highest and defenses are stretched the thinnest. That challenge becomes even more difficult when organizations don't have a complete picture of who or even what has access to their environments. A new report from Network suggests many organizations are still struggling with exactly that problem. According to the company's latest research, security teams continue to face significant visibility gaps when it comes to managing identities across increasingly complex IT environments. Those environments now extend far beyond traditional user accounts. organizations have to keep track of service accounts, privileged accounts, machine identities, cloud workloads, third-party integrations, and an increasing number of automated systems and AI tools. As all of this technology stacks on top of itself, maintaining visibility into all of those identities becomes significantly more difficult. The timing is important because identity becomes one of the most common paths attackers are using to gain access. Rather than exploiting a software vulnerability, threat actors often rely on compromised credentials, excessive permissions, or forgotten accounts that still have access to critical systems and information. So from a defender's perspective, those attacks can be difficult to identify simply because the activity often appears legitimate, at least at first glance. And artificial intelligence is only adding another layer of complexity. As organizations adopt AI-powered tools and autonomous agents, the number of identities that require oversight continues to grow. Each new application, automation platform, or AI workflow introduces additional permissions and access relationships that security teams must understand and secure. For business leaders, the takeaway is that cybersecurity isn't always about detecting the next sophisticated attack, because in many cases, the challenge is understanding what already exists within the environment and whether the right people, systems, and applications have the right level of access. Those concerns are also influencing where cybersecurity dollars are actually being spent. And one of the biggest examples of this came this month from a major investment in operational technology security. Accenture announced a roughly $4.1 billion push into the sector through a majority stake acquisition of Dragos and the full acquisition of security firms both RunZero and NetRise. Together, the deal creates one of the largest operational technology security organizations in the market and reflects the growing importance of protecting the systems that support critical infrastructure and industrial operations. Dragos has become one of the most recognized names in industrial cybersecurity, helping organizations secure operational technology environments across industries like manufacturing, energy, and utilities. RunZero specializes in asset discovery and visibility, while NetRise focuses on software supply chain security. Combined, these technologies are all designed to help organizations better understand, monitor, and protect increasingly complex environments. But the timing of this acquisition is particularly notable. We opened this month's report with a federal warning about attackers targeting industrial monitoring systems and how concerns around operational technology continue to surface throughout the cybersecurity industry. And as organizations connect more operational assets to their networks, the potential impact of a cyber incident extends beyond data and now into the physical world. For business leaders, the significance of this move goes beyond the companies involved. Cybersecurity spending often reflects where organizations believe future risk is headed. So a multi-billion-dollar investment in operational technology security suggests that protecting industrial environments is no longer viewed as a specialized concern. Rather, it's becoming a core part of business resilience, continuity planning, and long-term risk management. That's it for this month. So as always, thanks for watching. And remember, if you want more news from the Dot Report, you can hear these stories plus several more covered in our podcast report on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. I'm Andrew Mancini with Dot Security, and this has been the Dot Report. Browse safe out there, and we'll see you next month.